Hey everybody, it's Phil Bruce here, and today we are going to talk about setting goals for the new year for 2026. And I thought this is a perfect time, just as we're finishing 2025, we've got 2 days to go. It gives us time to take stock. It gives us time as well to think ahead to January and to think about how we can improve things. So when we're talking about setting goals, coming out with goals, the best principle to follow, as probably a lot of you know, you've probably heard it before, is the SMART principle. So specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic, and time/type. So go through, so we'll go with specific. So think about in 2026, what are your specific goals? Have you got one specific goal? Have you got a bunch of specific goals? So again, let's go through some possible examples, because there can be different elements to your life that you can be trying to work on. So it could be fitness, health, could be money, so finances, it could be personal development and growth, I say businesses, it could be relationships. There's lots and lots. So we're going to try and give a couple of examples for bits if we can, and just try and see if we can help in that way. So if we want to talk about fitness related goals, and again, let's start with a specific one. What's your specific fitness goal? So is it to be able to run half a marathon? Is it to be able to bench press 100 kilo in the gym? Is it to be able to touch your toes when you're stretching? So they're examples of specific goals that we've got. Again, if we're talking about finances, could it be that we're trying to double our income? Could it be trying to add a side hustle that gives you a couple of £100 or a couple $100 a week or a month on top of what you're doing? Could it be investment? So could you want to start investing this year? Could you want to hit a specific target? So could you want to, I don't know, put £5,000 or $5,000 into a certain investment? So whether it be cryptocurrency, whether it be stocks and shares ISAs, whether it be savings, whatever it is to you, but they're specific examples. Again, if we're looking at measurable, how are you going to measure these goals? So your fitness goals, for example, if we're talking about going for a half marathon, the way to measure it is by running and seeing how far you can run, see the time that you can run it in as well. Again, bench press, simple. See what your 1 rep max is. So how much weight you can lift for 1 rep. Or you could do a 10 rep max if you want to try and build it up. So what weight could you lift for 10 repetitions? It'll be lower, but it'll help to build up to give that indication. But if you're looking at 100 kilo bench press as a 1 rep max, the simple one is a 1 rep max for your kind of target and your goal, and you'll measure with that. Again, if you're looking at touching your toes, it could be a sit and reach test. How far are you near your toes? Are you keeping your legs straight as you're doing it? What's the measurement there? Again, when it comes to finances and your investments, it's looking in your bank account, seeing how much money you've got. It's looking at what investments you've got. Have you got any investments? And it's just literally looking at it. Again, so that's essentially measurable. Attainable. Is it attainable? Is it achievable? So let's go to the half marathon. So again, is it achievable to do a half marathon in a year? It could be, it depends on whether you've ran before, it depends on your fitness levels, it depends on injuries, and it also depends on time, which we'll come and touch on to later. But there, things to say it's achievable. Again, if you're talking about the bench press, it could be, is it achievable? So do you go to the gym? Have you got the equipment to do it? As in literally the bench press equipment. Have you got the weights to do it? Have you also got the time to do it as well? Have you got the level of fitness to do it? So what I mean by that is, if you're doing a bench press, are you strong enough? But also, have you got any injuries that are going to affect your lifting? So if, for example, if your shoulders are really hurting, or your arms are really hurting, or your chest are really hurting, that could have a negative impact when it comes to lifting for the bench press, because the bench press tends to work the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps at the back of the arms. Again, is it achievable to be able to touch your toes? Again, it depends what your level of flexibility is and your injury rate or your injury levels for that are as well. So they have that impact. Again, finances, are you getting money in? That's question number one. Are you, or have you also got any savings or any investments at all that could allow you to transition from, for example, if you've got money in your current account, can you then switch it into an investment? Or can you put it into a saving, or can you put it into as a cryptocurrency, whatever it is, stocks and shares, IT. So is it achievable? Are you able to get enough money in at the end of each month, or the beginning of each month, or the middle of each month to be able to make the investments? Or are you living paycheck to paycheck? Have you got enough money spare over that you can do the investments? Or are you literally short on money, or are you breaking even? So there are the questions to ask, and say realistic kind of ties into it, and it does tie into, is it realistic that, again, let's put it on the bench press, is it realistic that you can bench press because you've got the body that hasn't got any injuries that allows you to do it? Is it realistic in the sense of the equipment, like I talked about, and the location and the time and all those kind of things? Again, with the running, is it realistic you can do it? Can you run? Does your body allow you to run, in certain different ways? Have you got the facilities to be able to run? So it could be on a road or a park or a field or wherever. Have you got that around you? Have you got the time commitment to do it? With the stretching, is it a case that, I don't know, when you're doing the stretch, are you fit and able to do it? As I say, if you've got a broken leg, for example, you wouldn't be able to then do the hamstring stretch because it'd be in a cast. Or, as I say, with the sit and reach, are you fit and healthy and able to do the stretch? Again, facilities, you should be able to do it anywhere, really. You could do it in your house, somewhere in the house, but there are examples. Again, with the money, is it realistic in the sense of, like we've talked about, the amount of money you're earning, or the amount of money that you can save, the amount of money that you've already got in your bank account? Do those things make it realistic? And then we'll go on to time. So the time of it. So if I'm setting a goal of running a half marathon, but I can only run, say, a mile or 2 miles, it's probably not a good kind of time set to say I will be able to run half a marathon in 4 weeks. So it's thinking about what it ties into that realistic and achievable bit. But for me, for example, if I could only run a mile, I'd probably look at 6 months, maybe 9 months to try and build up to that half marathon. Again, I'd have to then think about how often I'm training. So am I training 2, 3, 4 times a week? Building up my cardiovascular fitness, building up my power, building up my endurance to keep going as well. Flip it onto the bench press. Again, if it's the same thing, if I'm lifting 20 kilo in the gym, it wouldn't be realistic, and it wouldn't be a good time frame to say I can lift 100 kilo in 6 months even, or I could lift it in, even shorter than that, 1 to 2 months. So I'd look more longer term on that one. So you're probably looking a year, maybe 2 years, but you're building it up gradually. Again, sit and reach with the flexibility for the hamstrings, or you're standing to touch. Again, it depends how close I am to being able to touch my toes in the first place and keeping the legs straight. So if I'm really struggling, I'd look to do it for longer than if I was near to it. Let's go on this example now. If I'm near to it, so if I've got my hands touching probably towards my shins or my ankles and my legs are pretty straight, I'm probably going to look at a short to medium term time. So it could be a month to 3 months, or 6 if I really need it. Trying to practice regularly with my stretching. And I'll probably look at doing developmental stretching. So holding each stretch for about 30 seconds, which allows the muscle to open up like that. Again, if I'm looking at money in the bank, so say I've got £1,000 in saving and my target, or $1,000, depends where you're watching it. And if I wanted to get £5,000 or $5,000, again, could it be realistic to do it in a month? Most probably not, depending on what your income is and depending on the work that you do. Could it be realistic to do it in a year? Yeah, it could be. Again, I know there's different factors that come into account here. So it's trying to have a look at what your specific situation is, your specific detail, your specific, as I say, things that are going on in your life that then allow you to think about what could be good for you. So the time frame and the type as well, it really depends on what your personal situation is. So that's where you need to have a sit down and a look and a think for you. When we're talking about the time frame, we can split it into short, medium and longer term times and goals. So for example, a short term could be a week, a month, 2 months, depending what you're doing. This is broken down within a year, by the way. Medium term, you're probably looking 4, 5, 6 months. And a longer term, you're probably looking 10 to 12 months, for example. But you'd probably say you're looking at a year for a longer term goal. And it's splitting it into those parts. So let's wheel this back to, let's say, the half marathon. So with the half marathon run, and I'm running a mile at the moment, a short-term goal could be trying to run 2 or 3 miles. A medium term could be trying to run 6 to 8 miles. And then a longer term could be 12 to 13 miles to get the half marathon in, which should be built over a year, or specific times like that. Again, bench press, if I'm lifting 20 kilo, it could be, right, short term could be trying to get to 30 or 40 kilo. Medium term, 60 to 70 kilo. And then the longer term, you're looking 90 to 100 kilo. But let's be blunt and let's be honest, the odds are with that significant jump in that amount, it'll probably take longer than a year. So you can set your longer term goal as longer there and do it accordingly. Flexibility, like I say, if I'm keeping my legs pretty much straight, if I'm able to touch my ankles, I'll probably look at, again, let's say a week to 4 weeks, a month is a short term goal. I'm probably looking a month or 2 as the medium term goal, and 6 months at tops. It might even be 4 months as the longer term goal for that, because I'm nearly there anyway. If I keep putting in the practice regularly, I can get there at a quicker time. And then the final bit we'll talk about is type. So again, let's think of the half marathon. What will allow us to do that or to achieve it? So you want to look at cardiovascular activities. Obviously, running is your main one. Whether it be steady state running, so you're running the same pace the whole time, or you could do intervals or fartlek training, which is kind of where you do like different paces. So you go a quicker bit, then a slower bit, and a recovery, which will then allow to help, as I say, to build that kind of endurance as well as the sprint, because you might be sprinting to the finish line, for example, or sprinting up a hill, depending on what kind of track you're running for the half marathon. On a bench press, it could be, as I say, you are benching, but it could also be you are doing a chest press, it could be you're doing a fly, it could be using dumbbells, barbells, just different stimuli to get the chest. You could also focus on building the shoulders up, so shoulder press, reverse flies, it could be lateral raises, side raises, and then building the triceps up, tricep dips, tricep press, close grip, bench press. Just they're examples, as I say, to build the triceps up. And going back to the running one, again, you could go on a spin bike to build your leg strength and your cardio fitness up. You could go onto a cross trainer. You could walk as well. There's plenty of other things that you can do to mix and match within that to allow you to get to the half marathon if you're running. Flexibility, it could be standing hamstring, sitting hamstring, hamstring stretches whilst you're on your back. There's plenty of those. And again, I'd look to hold each one for about 30 seconds to allow that developmental range of motion and flexibility. But if I'm stretching my hamstrings, it's important to stretch my quads, because if I'm stretching one, I need the opposition muscle group stretched as well. So I'll be looking at different type of quad stretches. Again, standing quad stretch, lying quad stretch, kneeling quad stretch, plenty of those. And then to touch back onto the bench press, if I'm strengthening my chest and my shoulders and the back of my arms, It's important as well to strengthen the back and the biceps at the front of the arms. Again, think of an agonist and antagonist, opposition muscle groups. If one's getting stronger, you need the other one strong as well. So it could be lateral raises, it could be, let's say, bent over rows, deadlifts, it could be back extensions. There's lots that you can work on there. Try and get your core strong with some planks and bodyweight movements as well. And then finally, onto the financial side. Again, if I'm looking at types, it's types of investment. So, like I've talked about, stocks and shares, ISAs, cryptocurrencies, buying shares. It could be savings. It could be going into a business, and you know, building those things up as well, building your business up. So there's those kinds. And it's also having the understanding of what kinds of work I can do to build that up as well. So is it my job? Is it, again, investments? Is it, you know, money from family, friends? Is it you borrowing money? Again, I'm not recommending all these things, but there's different kinds. Is it your side hustle or side job? Is it social media that's building it in? There could be lots of different income streams. But again, if you put all those bits together, give yourself some time, write it in your diary, write it in a journal, and think to yourself, right, these are my goals for 2026. This is what I want to achieve. I want to try and get to the next level. Then you are certainly in for a good start, and you've got all the tools there needed to help you achieve your goals in 2026. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Again, as I always say, any questions, any topics you want me to talk about, please let me know and I happily will do so. Let's all go and nail 2026, making it our best year yet. We can all do it, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. So bye for now.